Friends, it pleases me to no end to welcome you back to my garden. It is September garden tour time, which seems insane to me. I cannot believe we are looking at October. And the garden is still providing a lot of little treasures. I still have a few blooms coming. The containers are settling in, looking really good. And I am obsessed with my front porch. So let's take a look at that first. Come on in. First things first, let's talk about the front porch. If you have not seen this video, last week I got a chance to make over the front porch and we are loving it so much. And you know, it's interesting. I kind of forgot that I had mentioned this phrase, but it's this concept of gentle fall. And some of us are not like orange and purple people, and that is okay. And so for me, this gentle fall with like this hukra, I mean, look at the matching on that backside. But what's so fun is you just barely get a little hint of it. And so all of these antique tones are coming through so beautifully. I am loving my candles. We've been turning them on in the evening. And then I couldn't help it. I brought my spaceman back out and he's hiding behind some pumpkins. And what's so funny is, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but when you do a project, do you ever get so excited by like a decorating something that immediately you want to launch into another project? And so if you notice right here, we finally got a chance to paint the trim. And actually, let me take you over here too, because this is the window where we were trying out a bunch of different paint colors. We even tried out what it would be like to go black all the way around, and the black felt too closed in. But you know what? It's always worth a shot. And so we have gone with this creamy, creamy white. I think it helps the windows feel a little bit bigger. And it also, because it has this creaminess to the white, it helps transition from the starkness of the vinyl to the creamy to our paint color. So the body color of the house is a Miller paint. It's called Ambiguous Black. And this is a color called Greek Pebble. We tried one that was a little bit more yellow, didn't like it. And so this one is kind of a nice putty white. And then over here on the front door, which actually I kind of want to give it another coat, this is a bear paint called Vintage Vogue. So in any event, doing the front porch has inspired us to do a little bit more painting, and we finally got all the trim done. And I know people out there are probably like me, where you're doing it all yourself and it takes you about a month to get it all done, but we got it done. Oh, also on this window right here, when we originally moved in, there were actually shutters on this window. And I've been toying with the concept of bringing them back, but there's something really nice and clean on such a little house that I kind of think I might leave them off. So just for full transparency, we used to have shutters, and I'm loving this porch. All right, so now swinging you around here, this little patio is still just working her magic. And I do have to say, for the first time since we planted this, I think my little centerpiece is just about ready to go to bed. Some of the leaves are aging out, but we still have amazing texture here. So I might cut back these spent blooms and just leave the foliage. But yeah, I have gotten literally months of enjoyment out of this centerpiece, and it has been just a very welcome addition. The other thing is I was able to get one little baby flush out of my roses. So this one right here, this is Jude the Obscure, and it has these incredible chalice petals. It just smells so delicious. So it looks like I'm going to get one final spray before kind of late fall, early winter sets in. And then over here, this is my last bud of Celestial Night, which I'm so excited about. The next rose over, if you guys remember, I stripped this entire rose down and treated it, and check it out. I have not only a bud, but this one is finally cracking color. This one is Honey Dijon, and I am very excited to see her. And then the Lady Gardener, she's done. I'm in the process of stripping her back as well because, of course, massive black spot. But as we swing around here, I do have to say the star of the border right now is this Gara. This is So White Gara. And I have to say, it's bigger than the tag said. And I am extremely grateful for that because it adds just a whole heap of incredible whimsy to the garden. And I'm loving it. And then just to give you a little update here on the mums, here we are. So this is about a month into its life here on my property. And what I kind of wanted to show you is I have begun to do a little bit of a cutback. So what you can see here is I have pruned it back here, and we now have tons and tons of buds coming out. So later this week, I'm going to get out here. I'm going to take off more. I just started by taking off kind of like you can see here, this faded rose. I've been starting by taking off the oldest blooms first, and I should be getting a second flush. Look at that, already cracking. Okay, and so friends, in case you are new to my front yard, I have a dining room and an eating area. And this little garden has produced so much produce this season. In fact, I am just about ready to start pulling the last of my summer veg and transition it to a lot of fall things. So I'm thinking daikon. I have some rainbow chard that I'm going to be bringing in. And also, check this out, the last of my lemon cucumbers. Holy cow. Of course, I have massive powdery mildew. That's just kind of the name of the game if you're gardening in the Northwest this time of year. And then over here, where is it? Oh, yes, I've got another one. I don't know if you guys can see this, but check this out. This is the new pickling cucumber I tried this year. It's called Calypso. And this has been, oh, do you love the spider crawling across my hand? This has been so productive. So productive. In fact, we made Brian's grandmother's recipe for pickles. We jokingly referred to them as Midwest eels, and they are so good. Oh my gosh, here's another one. Needless to say, we might have another batch of the Midwest eels coming on. They are fantastic. So Calypso, that gets a big old thumbs up from me. So someone on one of my last container design videos asked about ornamental kale and whether they're edible. And here's the scoop. Obviously, before you eat anything, Google it, do your research. However, ornamental kales, essentially what they've done is they've bred them for beauty versus flavor. So the difference is you're really going to have more of a bitter kale than more of like a succulent green. This kale, however, is one called red boar kale, and you can buy this seed very readily online. I've seen it on Botanical Interest. In any event, red boar kale is actually a kale that is bred to be edible. It's super delicious, and it's also gorgeous in a container. So long story short, kales are edible. However, the ornamental ones are usually less palatable, less desirable to eat. They are more for consuming with the eyes, we'll call it. Okay, I want to show off one more thing. I totally forgot to mention, we mulched. Is anyone else out there obsessed with mulch? It just makes the garden look so spectacular. And right behind this 9-bark, gosh, and I don't even remember which one this is. I think it might be Diabolito, but you know me, I love contrast in the garden. And so back here is where one of my anemones ended up. This is a Japanese anemone. It is called Honorine Jobert. And yes, she is very tiny, but once she grows, she will probably be about yay tall, I would say, easily 4 feet tall and very like blousy, lots of movement. So it's going to look great behind this hydrangea. And the white blooms, I think, are going to look spectacular next to this 9-bark. So, new addition to the garden. That was one of my fall florals. So for those of you who are always curious, I'm now walking down the left side of my house. And what's amazing and probably what you guys see in some of these videos is this gorgeous wisteria. This is actually my neighbor's wisteria, and I love it. I love it so much. And what's really fun is, let me actually spin you around. Okay, so on this side, that is our living room window. And this is our dining room window. Like I said, tiny house, you guys. Tiny house. But what's really fun is you literally get a bird's eye view of the wisteria because we sit above this fence line. So it's like the most spectacular view. Oh, and we haven't painted those, but we did get the front done. So baby steps. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Okay. I want to go show you some cut flowers because there's some beautiful ones that have finally come up and I'm just thrilled. I'm just thrilled. And what's fun about this time of year is I also get to remember the ones that have grown in years past. And so I'm already starting my repurchase list because not all of them made it due to my neglect. Okay. All right, friends, here we are, the cut flower garden. Is it as big as I wanted this year? No. But is it still spectacular? Why, yes. Yes, it is. I'm going to take you down and we're going to look at some dahlias. I haven't been down here in like, oh my gosh, it has been a week since I've had any time in my garden. And so I have a little bit of deadheading to do, but I want to cut a bouquet to bring into the house because I just feel like that is the way that you start a week. Okay, so let's go through my dahlia patch. And yes, I have scissors because my snips are in the van and I'm not going to go get them. Okay. Before we get into this adorable dahlia here, I am going to cut some of this verbena. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I have been utilizing this like crazy and it's just like big and flowery and it just, oh my gosh, it just won't quit. So let me tell you, this verbena is spectacular. And also look at that coloring. That is gorgeous. So if you're looking at this verbena on the stem, there's just like a hint of raspberry. And so when you put these two together, it is so spectacular. This is a dahlia that Brian and I have been loving. This is one we grew from seed, and it has survived in this garden despite a fair amount of neglect. And it's one that we call Scraggle Pants. And it's because of these like twirly, scraggly petals. And so here she is, her inaugural official YouTube introduction. This is a dahlia called Scraggle Pants. And it's so fun. It's like just such a funky dahlia and no two are alike. And look at this plant. I have not deadheaded this thing in, this is probably 2 weeks. I know, terrible dahlia mom. But look at this. It's just constant, 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 and it won't stop. So I'm going to cut some, throw them in our vase, and I'll take you over to see some other ones. So I also grabbed some rudbeckia because I love how that color looks with the center of these open dahlias. And also it just kind of pulls the whole thing together. So let's go down the line and I'm going to show you some just awesome things that are blooming their little heads off. First things first is Maryland's white. Guys, I thought I planted some of Maryland's magic, but I think I only have the white. Anyways, it's like the most perfect ball dahlia and it produces like crazy. So I'm going to cut a couple of these and throw them in the vase to come in. This is one that has gone too far, but this is Otto's Thrill, and I have been loving this dahlia this year. She is super big. This one is a little too far to be a cut flower. You can tell because the petals on the back have started to go over, so I'm not going to cut it, but there are a ton of blooms like right here that are getting ready to blow open, and so I will have more of her probably in a couple days. So this is the next one. It is called Yarra Falls, Yarra, and it has been another really great performer. And I love that each one of these end up looking a little bit different. So I'm going to cut this little cutie and it's going to go into the vase too. And this is what I mean by they all look a little bit different. How awesome is that? It's like just the continual surprise. So very fun one to grow. All right, friends, next one I have grown. This is Rip City, and it is so fun. This is like the perfect fall Halloween dahlia. The one that it's growing next to, again, the back of the blooms have started to fade, but look how gorgeous that is. And it's lighter on the outer petals and then just deep and velvety in the middle. So this one is going in the arrangement. Let's deadhead this guy while we're at it. Okay, friends, this is a dahlia. This is called Bloomquist York, and I love her. I love her. Okay, shout out to my girlfriend Alicia, who gave me this tuber. We did a little tuber exchange in the late spring, and this one is lovely. It is so just dynamic and interesting. This one is actually an older bloom. The petals on the back have gone a little bit more papery. This one, however, this one I'm going to cut and bring in, but do you see how it starts out super deep and then it's kind of aging out? I love this one so much. In fact, oh my gosh, here's this bud. This thing is so gorgeous. Look at it starting to unfurl. This is so beautiful. And this is one that unfortunately, Alicia was telling me that hers rotted in the ground. And so we're going to do another dahlia exchange in the spring. And I'm going to give her some of these tubers because I love this. It is so great. Okay, friends, I need a helping hand from the community. What is this? What is this flower? This is a dahlia that is literally, oh, I love this. Here we go. This is what it's labeled. Rip City, not that, question mark. It is really cool. It has very interesting foliage. So check this out. The foliage is a lot more serrated than a traditional dahlia. And it's like the blooms are kind of a mix. It's like a really complex anemone style. And look at this little guy here. It actually almost reminds me of a mum in a way, but I have no idea what this is. So I'm not sure whether, oh, and it's tall. So I'm not sure whether I grew this from seed and its tuber got mixed up in the big shuffle of things that I was putting in the ground, or whether this is actually a variety, but I think it is so fun. And it kind of, I don't know why, it reminds me of an ice cream cone because do you love I'm just stuck in the dahlias? It kind of reminds me of an ice cream cone because sometimes these petals on them, they'll come out really, really long. It does have a very thin stem, so it feels a little wispy to me too. So that one is quite fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. Friends, this is a very funny one. I've showed this one before. This is Sweet Natalie. And what is so interesting about Sweet Natalie is I bought this tuber 3 or 4 years ago. And every year it would come up, it would have foliage and would never bloom. And look at this year. It's like, what is it doing dormant in the ground for this long? And now it shows up to the party. So I am loving this. I'm going to cut a couple of these and bring them inside because it has produced very, very well for me. So next up are my orange dahlias. These are two of my absolute favorites. We have first up Cornell Bronze. This one is going to be a lighter orange. It's not a vibrant orange. It's more muted and just the most perfect ball of all time. I am loving this. I might, gosh, we're getting late in the season. Normally you want to cut these pretty deep. I might just cut it here so I can get a couple more in a few days. I'm going to take that one and then look at this. I mean, my gosh, it is gorgeous. This one I'm going to cut a wee bit deeper because I have good development. So these are going in my arrangement. I want to show you this one as well. This is another orange. And let's do a little side by side. So over here, I have Cornell Bronze. And then on my right here, this one is Brown Sugar. It's a little bit more, it has a bit more red in it. It's almost like a little bit more of a burnt orange. It is so spectacular and I love it. So this one is for sure coming in. I'm going to show you this other plant. This one, for whatever reason, is so much further along. I mean, just look at this thing. I am obsessed. Obsessed. All of my beautiful orange dahlias. So cute. Friends, I have one more thing to show you, but before I head over there, I want to show you this blueberry. This is a blueberry called Blue Jay, and it is sensational fall color. And I feel like this is one of those fall color elements that doesn't get enough screen time. Look at this. This is spectacular. And it's the type of red that has a little bit of purple in it. And I find that this particular shade looks the most iridescent in the landscape. So blueberries for fall color, can't recommend them enough. Okay, friends, we are in my mom garden, and these are getting so close. Look at this. It has really well developed buds, and none of them are cracked open just yet. This one is probably the closest, still not open yet. I feel like maybe we have another week until it's mom time. But these are stunning. Look at this. These are taller than me by kind of a lot. Okay, this is the Safina, and I am 5'3", so 6'3" maybe. But these are looking so gorgeous, and it's really fun to see the shapes that develop because they're all so varied. Like this one right here, you can tell it's just gonna have beefy blooms, but it's this great little cluster here. I want to show you another one that is like a smaller spray, and it's so cute. Okay, look at this little tiny itty bitty. This reminds me more of the mums that I have in my front yard. And I feel like these guys down here too, these ones are going to be kind of little sprays. So I'm very curious to see what I'm going to come up with. But look at this. Do you see this right here? This is more bunny damage. And you guys, that little bugger, I don't even know what to do. He's still getting in. So, man, I feel like if he fights as hard for it, let him at it. But then look at this cutie. So fantastic. So once these start popping, you can bet your bottom dollar there will be a full mum tour up on the channel. Also in November is the Northwest, is it the Northwest? Oh my gosh, tongue twister. The Northwest Chrysanthemum Society. I believe their event is at the beginning of November. And so I'm going to take you along to that because I'm already obsessed. But you have to work hard for this one. This isn't like an immediate gratification. Like hashtag not a zinnia. The mums are, this is the long haul. So I'm very excited. Friends, my oak leaves are looking so good nestled in this corner. They have literally doubled in size. Oak leaves are one of those hydrangeas that you don't touch. You're not going to prune. You might deadhead them at the end of the season, but don't cut them back because you will be cutting back all the blooms that will arrive next year. So my little swoop of hydrangeas is looking really good. And then I have to show you the kiwis. Look at these little fuzzy pumpkins. They are so cute. Oh my gosh, there's a big one up there. Okay, I want to show you another one. There's a big one here. You can barely reach it, but this guy is also spectacularly huge. Look at that. That's like almost a proper proper kiwi. Okay, I also have to show you this. You can really only see them from the back. Would you look at all of these kiwis? Look, there's a cluster of 5 here, a cluster of 4, a cluster of 2. Here's another 5 down here. I kind of wonder, has anyone out there ever grown kiwis in my zone? So think like Seattle, Washington, zone 7, 8-ish. Have you ever grown kiwis? When do you harvest them? These are very small. Please leave detailed notes below because I'm always willing to learn from another gardener because I have never managed to successfully ripen them. I tried one year and then we ate them and they were too immature. So if anyone has advice, drop it down below because I would love to know more. Thank you for coming along on a very productive garden tour. I'm so excited. September garden tour, Dahlia harvest. I'm not sure what could be better. And I just have to say, it has been a journey to get this little bucket of dahlias this year. We have faced bunnies, drought, the whole 9 yards. But at the end of the day, this is helping me feel like all of those challenges were worth it, because not only does this get to come inside with me, but my whole entire family gets to enjoy this. So I hope wherever you are, you've got some gorgeous flowers on the table and you're just drinking up the last of the season. Okay, I'm gonna see you in the next one. And as always, please say hello to your garden for me.